Hello, I am the Gaming Superhero, and today I am making a kit for the total unknown discovered by the main man, James. This is like the next character behind the main three. I would be certain to end up in a DC Rivals if it ever got made. He is the new hotness that uses an actual gun and is already a focus for crossovers as shown in Mortal Kombat, so with those odds, I'm certain if they were thinking of making a DC Rivals, he is in it. I will also help them by giving him the perfect kit. But first, we have some shout out on YouTube. We have that one art guy, Jethro Ewan 8750, and then Juliac 1508. All got it correctly. And then on Discord we have Prehistoric Pogfish. So yeah, those are the guesses. Good job, everybody. And now onto the first appearance. Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker, first appeared in Fightin' 5 in 1966 within the pages of Charleston Comics, not DC, but they were later bought up by DC, hence him now being a DC character, because DC is the Disney of comic books for some reason. They just love eating up smaller comic companies. How they didn't gobble up Marvel when they were going bankrupt in the 90s, I'll never know. We open on a completely irrelevant story that I'm not going to bore you with, because your main man's doesn't show up in it. He has his own story towards the end. That acts as his introduction, because this is the era of comics where they have your main story that's on the cover, and then you have separate stories at the end, Peacemaker being one of them. So, we actually open on a simple breakdown on Peacemaker's secret identity as a man willing to fight for peace and an envoy to the Geneva Arms Conference. Both of his identities are dedicated to peace. He is going to South America to investigate who is inciting war. He lands and is informed of a man named Bork, who is the weapons dealer to the two South American countries, buying arms from him. They call him a War Maker, which is a fun inversion on Peacemaker, I guess. The War Maker is waiting to attack Smith's limousine. They then go down to get the papers that prove their guilt, but Peacemaker filled the suitcase with deadly gas, killing both the goons. We then cut to a peace conference that is attended by Bork, continuing to hoodwink the diplomats. After realizing that the means of stopping Bork have failed, he suits up as Peacemaker, using tools of violence he himself invented, like a jetpack, which he uses to fly to Bork to figure out his exact plan to start World War III. He flies into the military camp with Bork's men and beats them up. Bork tries to escape in a bomber, but Peacemaker chases him down, but is knocked down by the plane's guns. And that is it. That's where the issue ends. They ended on a cliffhanger, which is unfortunate, but I think this is a good, fun story to introduce the Peacemaker through. Although his constant affirmation that he hates violence but is forced to commit it anyway gets quite repetitive, really should have just been left to a single moment where he decides to go against his principles instead of every time he has a crisis of faith, because pretty much every page, damn near, and it just gets annoying after a while. I have made him a duelist. Finally, our first not tank. It's a miracle. His primary fire is his extended pistol. I don't know what gun it is specifically, but whatever. It is a standard precision shot that is semi-auto. He also has a movement ability with his jetpack, giving him 2 dashes to move forward in any direction, like Rocket Raccoon. Exactly like Rocket Raccoon, actually. Again, simple, but I thought it would be really good for him to have a movement ability to get to high ground. Ability 1 is
exploding compression bullets.
Reload your primary with a clip of bullets that will explode on enemies after a short delay, doing slightly less damage on the initial hit, but making up for it with the explosion, making it equal, if not greater DPS overall, and make it possible to hit multiple enemies at once. It will also last for as long as it takes for you to go through the clip, and it will start the cooldown once you reload back to normal ammo. So you're not earning the ability back as you're using it, making the cooldown almost irrelevant. Ability 2 is Go Eagly Go! I had to add the standout of the show into the kit. What it actually does is send Eagly straight out to hit an enemy, in which he will slow and blind the enemy for a few seconds, and probably do a little damage, but very negligible amounts, just to give the build, the ability weight to make it feel like you're being mauled by an eagle. Not much more to say. A nice way of adding a beloved animal sidekick. The ultimate is Sonic Boom. Dash forward to create a massive explosion on impact. I don't imagine it being one of those big instant death ults like Wanda or Diva, but still an ult you don't want to get hit by. That can kill if the enemies are significantly hurt. This is primarily inspired by the scene in the Peacemaker show where he uses his Sonic Boom helmet to level a parking lot. With, the added flair of the human torpedo helmet, with like the flying straight forward bit. I added the jetpack dash to make it a bit more flexible. So it's not just boom right wherever you're standing, which would not be quite as useful. No map synergy because I'm not even sure he has a super dedicated city or location. I also didn't give him a team up because I couldn't think of any character I have in the roster that really teams up with him. I could have done Ratcatcher, but that doesn't seem like a team up scenario to me. So those are the only two that really interact at this point currently in anything. So just no team up for Peacemaker. But that is how I would add Peacemaker to a DC Rivals. A very simple starter duelist for any new player, while also rewarding skill with good aim for headshots. But I also like him as a symbol to really show that obscure characters can be just as beloved and interesting as the most famous heroes if just given the right team to care. No one knew who this character was, but one good movie appearance and one great TV show, and they become a household name. Now, how much of this renown just comes from the actor playing him is hard to say, but also not really sure if that matters given that would qualify as the right team. He is a part of the team. Let me know what you think of this kit, his inclusion to the roster, and his skyrocketing popularity. Join the Discord for a bunch of fun and to share skin ideas for Wednesday's short. Really gonna need help with it. There's not a whole lot for Peacemaker skins due to him being so irrelevant for decades, but I'm sure there's gotta be something. But you're welcome, for I don't care how many men, women, and children I have to kill to get you kits!